Let's get started with the second tutorial of Quantopian Getting Started playlist. Quantopian has a research API that provides functions to query prices, returns, volumes data, and many other functions. If you want to see any other built-in functions provided by the research API, you can head on to help and API reference, which will give you the whole documentation of Quantopian built-in functions. So let's just quickly write a code that uses returns function to query data for Apple. So let's display the returns for Apple stock. So for that, from Quantopian, we'll be using the research API and we'll be importing returns function and symbols so that our code knows that we want Apple stock. We need to specify a period start date and a period end date. Let the period start date be 2014 and the period end date be 2015. So we'll be having a year data for returns of Apple stock API. So once this is done, let's call the return function and save it in a variable called Apple returns. So let's call the function and pass it the parameters, which are the first one is assets, which is our Apple stock. The second parameter is the start date, from which day do you want your stock return data to be available, which is your period start, and your end date, which is your end period. So once this is done, this will save your data into a pandas data frame in the variable called Apple returns. So if you want to view the data, you can just write the variable name, and if you use the function head for a pandas data frame, it will show you the top 5 rows for the data frame, and if you want to see the top 10 rows, just change the value. So Quantopian has a number of different datasets that include corporate fundamentals, stock sentiment analysis, and macroeconomic indicators. You can have a look at the datasets provided by Quantopian just by going to their homepage, and if you want to view the data, so these are data available by Quantopian to us. So in this playlist, we'll be using stock with state removed from psych signal. So if you click on this, you will be able to see the key metrics. How to use this? Key metrics include bull scored measures and bear scored measures. Bull stock is basically if you think the stock is going to go uptrend, and a bear stock is if you think the stock is going to go downtrend in the real future. So that's how you allot a bull and bear stock. So if you want to see the example usage of this notebook, they have provided here. So we'll query the data using Quantopian's pipeline API. What is a pipeline API and how to use it will be covered in the next tutorial.